Hello everyone, this is Gene with the second video of the day, so I do hope that this will be quick, because I personally find this humorous, but apparently Mr. Kayson Verne has finally found his courage, and he's actually unblocked me from Twitter. Thank you for that, Kayson, and he's left one comment each on the two videos that I made about him and our little spat on now he's reached out to me on Twitter again, and I am nothing but a generous hostess. So if he wants to go for round three, I'm always up for a fight. So here's what happened for those who don't know. Kaysan and I, who come from very different backgrounds and are pretty much different in every way, got into a bit of a debate on Twitter. Nothing new in my opinion. However, what happened is that he at a certain point decided to try to use one of my own videos against me in an attempt to shame me and claim that I said BLM were savages. I literally went, rewatched the video he linked, and found that I never said that. And I will admit, out of anger, I made a video cursing him out and calling him out on what he said. I then made a second video about a week later after that because I found out, because I just have this itch in the back of my head at times. I found out that he was still talking about me. He was still talking about me to another person, Vicky and Vance, who's a follower of mine, who's a follower on Twitter on mine. And yes, your girl boss video is coming. I have not forgotten it. I'm just terribly behind on everything, Vicky and Vance. So they were talking, and he put up this message or whatever, talking about how basically he was in the right about what he was saying about me. Now, again, no one told me that. I literally just got a feeling in the back of my head, checked, and found out. And of course, he had me tagged in there, but I couldn't see the initial image in Twitter when I was logged into my account because he had me blocked at that time. And again, I don't want to belabor the point here because they're better explained in two videos I did. But apparently, finally, Kaysan has found his spine, and he unblocked me from Twitter, and he left a comment on one comment each on the videos that I made. So now, after I sent him this message, in response to this little 45-second clip here where he tries to act like, oh, look at this silly woman getting so worked up over me. Yet you're the one who still took time out to watch my videos to give me a view on each one. So that's 2 more views, thank you. And to even like the video. You can try to play it off as sarcasm all you want. All you've done is benefit me. So congratulations, you played yourself. But anyway, after I messaged him, because I honestly didn't think that he had unblocked me, I just decided to check because he had addressed me on Twitter. So I was like, oh, well, let me check. I honestly wasn't expecting to be unblocked, but he unblocked me, and so I sent him this simple message. Disagreeing with me isn't politically correcting me. However, I'll give you credit. You actually left a comment on each video I made, and you finally unblocked me. So this is his response to me several hours later. So because I have an actual job that I have to get back to, I thought I would just briefly address what he put here. Since he wants to walk up and get in my arena for round 3, let's go. So he writes, I just had to, even though you attempted to blast me, which is a low blow to ruin my name and try to hurt me, which is cyberbullying. Let's address something here. I have never once cyberbullied you, Kaysan. I literally sent out a tweet asking if retweeting you, which is what you claimed, that my retweeting you, between 2 and 5 times on Twitter was cyberbullying, and the responses I got back were, no, he probably just can't make a good argument against you. Now, you claim that my videos are a low blow to ruin your name and try to hurt you. Sir, you have no name. You have no name. So how in the world am I hurting you? This is a public debate that got cut off because you blocked me in the middle of said debate after I called you out on saying something false about me, which is oh, you said BLM are savages, and I said, no, I didn't. So you blocked me at that time, which meant that if I was to respond in another way, and for you to actually see it, I had to go to YouTube. So I continue to use a public forum to address a public dispute. And I state in those videos, as I will state in this one, do not contact Kayson. And I wrote down in the comment sections, as I will write down in this comment section, do not contact Kayson. And even when I found out that you and Vicky and Vance were going back and forth, I tweeted Vicky and Vance and said, don't engage with him. So I have done everything I can reasonably do to make sure no one cyberbullies you. And I have the receipts, I have the images, I have the videos. So again, how is this cyberbullying? How is addressing you in public in two different formats, two different websites, on Twitter and then on YouTube, both of which you have equal access to, and you can easily reach me and contact me, which is exactly what you did. You unblocked me, you messaged me, you sent me this, and you left comments in the video, on the two videos I did. So if you have something to say, Kayson, you obviously have a platform, two platforms at least, with which to say it. You can make your own response videos. You could get in the comment section. You could tweet me. So how again am I bullying you or trying to ruin your name? If anything, I'm the one who's in greater risk of losing something than you are, right? So again, you have to kind of explain this, explain objectively how in the world dealing with a public dispute in public is cyberbullying. When I have told everybody to not bully you and to not address you, that I will handle it myself. You see, where I come from, the ghetto of New York City, we call this TCB, taking care of business. I'm saying what I gotta say, you're saying what you've gotta say, and I think that you don't know how to take the heat. You didn't anticipate, in my opinion, in actual someone actually willing to challenge you, and now that I challenge you, you feel bullied. That's a you problem, not a me problem. Now, he continues on to say, I'm happy you're giving me this much attention. Oh, I'm glad I made you happy in some fashion. I wouldn't even make two 30-minute pointless rants about you. Okay. Well, I don't think you could actually say anything worthwhile about me if you were to make a rant, but you did give me 45 seconds of your time, so obviously I've said something because you unblocked me and you decided to comment in my comment sections and you claim that you watched the video. So you gave me, in truth, what, about an hour and 45 seconds of your time, then plus whatever time it took for you to make the little 45-second video or to make these two images, which I'm currently going to go over. So you've actually given me quite a bit of your time. So obviously something I have said has struck a chord with you for you to change course and go from blocking me and talking about me behind a block to actually now addressing me in public again. So is it perhaps I've gotten under your skin a bit more than you're willing to admit, Kayson? And then you say, I would have just moved on. Well, I find this pretty funny now, but yeah, perhaps I should move on, but well, you're the one who keeps stepping up, so I'll just keep knocking you down. But here's the thing, this is just comedy gold. Aw, if I can make you laugh, I've done my job. I gotta empathize for you though. You could be having some personal issues I don't know about. Kayson, keep your empathy. Keep your empathy to yourself. I do not need it. I do not want it. I do not need your false sympathy or empathy or anything else. Like anyone else, I have personal issues, but there's certainly nothing for you to know about or to worry about. You obviously only did this to make yourself feel better, which is healthy and which is not healthy and it's concerning. I thought that the current belief is that, venting one's feelings is healthy. So how in the world is me making videos expressing my opinion about you? Well, I'm not going to say that it doesn't make me feel better. It does. I'm not gonna say that. Every video that I makes me feel better in some fashion because there's something obviously frustrating me and I'm expressing what it is. So naturally, to get that out does make me feel better. But I do find it interesting that you say it's not healthy and it's concerning. What? It's not healthy to publicly address what someone is saying about me? I had no idea that was the case. Disagreeing with you is politically correcting you because you're against yourself, your own needs, and even human rights. Ah, again, Kayson, you with the telekinesis, right? With the telepathy, you can somehow read minds and know exactly what's going on in my head or the things I have lived through or the things that I believe in and support and don't support. Even human rights. Do you know anything about history, Kaysan? Do you know anything about the history of human rights? It's a lot more than just a hashtag and a slogan. People have literally put themselves on the line for human rights, which is not something I see too many people doing today. Until you know your history, don't talk to me about human rights. Now you say, wait until you get that $1,400 stimulus check in your bank account and see how it will change your mind and you start kissing Biden's ass. Few things. Um, I actually have a regular job, so I get paid regularly. So the stimulus check doesn't really do much for me personally. That being said, I know that it is a great help to other people, those who truly need it, those who lost their jobs, right? So if you think that this is somehow some sort of crack at me, it's not, because the stim check isn't going to change my life, but it is going to help a lot of people. But the biggest help that we need is to actually get people working again, because a one-time stimulus check for a lot of people isn't going to do much more than pay the rent, especially if you live in an expensive city like New York, like I do. Now, you talk about kissing Biden's ass. I follow no politician, and since you talk about kissing ass, I don't kiss ass. I certainly don't engage in sexual activities that would involve such a thing. Not my kink. But if you are interested in kissing Biden's behind, well, you do you, brother. You see, Biden is not young enough, nor is he attractive enough for me to consider that type of intimate behavior. But again, I don't know. Maybe you like older men. I have no clue. But I will not be kissing President Biden's ass, or anyone's ass, for that matter. Like it or lump it, my thoughts and my opinions are my own. Just remember, it wasn't Biden who passed this policy. It was Bernie Sanders because he's chairman of the Budget Committee. So what you're saying is that it wasn't the old, rich, lifelong politician, white man who became president who passed this policy. It's the old, rich, democratic, socialist, lifelong politician, white man, Bernie Sanders, who passed it because he's chairman of the Budget Committee. So wonderful. Great. An old rich white guy passed something that ultimately will only really be of benefit to him. Because again, it's not going to do much in the long term for a lot of people, unfortunately. And like I said, for me personally, right, it's a nice boost, but it's not going to change my life or my world. I'm not struggling in that respect, thank God above. But for those who are, I sincerely hope that a much more stable way comes along because depending on politics and politicians and the government only leads to ruin. It doesn't help. The government doesn't care about you, despite whatever slogans they may throw your way. I did leave a comment on each video you made about me because it's funny AF and it's concerning. Aw, I had no idea you were so concerned. I did unblock you to thank you. Aw, well, thank you too. But I'm still not going to apologize for what I said because what I said was just common sense and straight up facts. What you said was common sense and straight up facts in your own mind, Kaysan. You see, you have that wonderful quality of youth that I and many others once possessed. It's the arrogance and ignorance of youth, of believing that you know everything about everything despite having barely lived. Right? Now, maybe to you, what you said was just common sense and straight up facts. To me, all it just showed is how little you actually know about the world or about politics. But I guess it's simply a matter of perspective, and I never actually expected you to apologize, Kayson, because you see, you are not mature enough, from what I can tell, at this point in time in your life to understand why you just might need to apologize and rethink what you have said. Because what you have done repeatedly is try to assert who and what I am. And you get upset with me because I do not live up to what you believe an apolitical person is. I am not here to live up to any sort of assumption that you have about apoliticals, women, blacks, or anything else. Actually, part of my existence is to actively disprove what people may assume about me due to my stated beliefs or my skin tone or my place of residence or my gender or anything else. So you see, I am by nature a contrarian. So yeah, I'm not going to live up to or be whatever you think I should be. And that seems to greatly irritate you if I am to give my opinion from our interactions overall. You like to assert that this is this and that is that, and I go, no, there's actually a bit more to it that you may not know or are not considering. But instead of actually considering what I say, you just block me, or you just say that, well, then you're not really this, you're not really apolitical. Because I dare to actually have opinions about what happens in the world, especially when it personally impacts me. Like, when New York City got shut down on a curfew for a week back in June of 2020 because of the George Floyd protests and riots. Keep in mind, in your two responses or comments on my video, you never actually addressed what I said in the video, and I said a lot. You never actually challenge what I've said, even in these tweets that I'm showing and responding to. You never actually address what I said. You just keep on asserting, I guess, what the message you need to believe in. Because I said nothing about Bernie Sanders or Biden. I addressed what you said about me, and this is your response to go into this long political rant to an apolitical who again has no faith in Biden, Bernie, Trump, de Blasio, Cuomo, or anyone else. So again, maybe you want to open your mind a little instead of believing that anybody who is not like you must be wrong. Right? Now it says, overall, you're just an unhealthily ranting on an anti-capitalist who is fighting for human rights. My man, number one, anti-capitalist. I am indeed a dirty capitalist, and I believe in capitalism. That for all of its flaws, it's the best system we have going because it actually allows for upward mobility. There's a lot to it, a lot more to it, I should say, than that. But again, this video is not about going into the history of capitalism, right? But I would just say that in my experience, in my studies on it, because I've actually read books on economics, Mr. Verne, for all of its flaws, and it does have many, capitalism, in my personal opinion, is the only economic system that actually works relatively well with human nature. The appeal of socialism is that it's a dream, right? The worker state, everybody gets what they need. When that dream is practiced in reality, it turns into terrible heartbreak. Capitalism is not about dreams in that sense. It is not about creating a perfect world. It acknowledges the fact that everything is imperfect and out of balance. And pretty much it advocates for working your ass off and you just might make it. There are no guarantees, but there are plenty of opportunities if you're willing to grab them, right? It actually kind of reminds me of a song from the Pet Shop Boys, right? You've got the brains, I've got the looks, let's make lots of money. Interestingly enough, that song is indeed called Opportunities. But I am just, a old 80s baby. I'm not quite sure Mr. Verne knows of that song. But maybe he does, I have no idea. But I do find it funny. He's talking about me ranting on an anti-capitalist. An anti-capitalist who, again, I don't know his situation, but from best I can tell, has enough capitalist resources such as money to use Twitter, to most likely have access to a computer, to have access to, for internet, which means that either he or someone he's living with or his family, whatever, is paying for the internet access and to use Facebook and to, sorry, not Facebook. I have no idea if he's on Facebook. I take that back. To use Twitter and YouTube and to make videos. So, believe it or not, you do have to have a fairly decent amount of resources to have access to a computer or to a phone, right? You have to have money to afford the luxury, and let's make it clear this is indeed a luxury, of being able to communicate online and to create video content, which he does. I've seen his YouTube channel. To make video content. This is not something that even most people in the world, in truth, have. So you and I are both actually quite privileged, but we are privileged because of capitalistic systems that allow us to gain these resources and use them in this way. So you look pretty damn capitalist for an anti-capitalist, Chief. But then again, you are a supporter of Bernie Sanders, the millionaire democratic socialist anti-capitalist. Just saying. And when it comes again to this fight for human rights, where are your battle scars? Where are your battle scars, man? Tweeting stuff online does not mean you are fighting for anything. People have lost their lives fighting for human rights. People have gone to jail fighting for human rights. People like Gandhi and Martin Luther King went to jail and were killed for human rights. You are not fighting for human rights. You are fighting an imaginary enemy that the, let's say, political and media forces you have so desperately put your faith in have created for you. You are trying to slay a monster that is not there. That's what you're doing, Kayson, in my humble opinion. You are not fighting for human rights. You are indeed a rebel without a cause. And so, the media and the politicians you openly support, you do reference Biden and Bernie here, have given you a dragon to slay. Except that the dragon is false. It's not really there. You're trying to fight someone and try to fight something that is actually not a threat to you at all. So please stop talking about you're fighting for human rights. Unless you've got something to lose, you ain't fighting for jack. It says, the right side of things? Well, again, sir, why in the world do you automatically think that you are on the right side of history? Why do you think this? Have you actually read history to understand what the right side and what the wrong side could be and what they could look like? By the way, if you're going to release a video about attempting to cancel someone like me, make sure you show the entire argument and read the whole thing out loud. Sir, you do not get to tell me how to make video content. But believe me, I do have the receipts, I do have the images, I still keep the videos. So yeah, I do have at least as much of the conversation as I could get, because remember, a good chunk of it was lost because you had blocked me at the time. Which would mean that, at least when I'm logged into my account, I can't see it, as I demonstrated in the first video, right? You had blocked me. So yeah, a bit difficult to get the whole thing when I am blocked. But believe me, I do have the receipts for at least most of our conversation, and they are being saved. Okay, I work in a job where literally we have to handle evidence and save things. We literally have to sign off forms for this type of thing every once in a while. So I understand the importance of having proof and evidence. So don't you worry, Kayson. This video is being saved. The last two videos are being saved. The tweets are saved. The links are saved. It is indeed all saved. I know exactly what I'm doing. Do you? But anyway, as I said previously, you don't have a name to ruin. And believe it or not, Kayson, I'm not trying to ruin you. I would like to believe that maybe you could learn a little something from this, but the only way you can learn is if you have an open mind. At least from my perspective, you don't seem to possess that. The moment someone, at least from what I've encountered of you, the moment someone dares to disagree with you, or disprove you, or challenge you in some fashion, you hide behind a block button, talk about them behind said block button. And you never actually refute or address what they've actually said. You just come up with an entirely different argument. Now, believe it or not, I am always open to honest conversation because I do not mind disagreement. There are plenty of people who are regulars on my channel who understand that I am not going to see things their way. But we still interact because we are respectful about it. Now, I will admit, a bit more difficult on our end because you have been incredibly disrespectful to me, and I have been disrespectful to you in turn. But if you're actually willing to have an honest conversation about our differing views, I am always open to listen, and I am always open to respond in a respectful manner. But understand something, respectful is not agreement. I do not have to agree with you to address you in a respectful manner. That's why it's called respectful disagreement. But to be clear, I am always open for conversation. Now the question is, Kayson, are you? Are you open to have an actual conversation about our differences? That's a question only you can answer. But I will admit, I do await your answer. So here's video 3, Kayson, of the useless rant. Right? Useless rant number 3. I hope you enjoy. So anyway, that's the video. I have a job to get back to, so please let me know, even you, Kayson, what you all think, and I will see you all in the next one. Have a good day or night wherever you are. Bye-bye.